Good morning, year 9. Today we're going to have a look at factorising by grouping in pairs. So our learning intention is to factorise by grouping in pairs. Now sometimes the HCF is an entire bracket, sometimes the highest common factor is an entire bracket. Let's have a look at these examples and factorise the following. Now we've got 6 times x plus 5 plus x times x plus 5. So our highest common factor of each of these is x plus 5. So we put our highest common factor outside the bracket, and then what we need to put is inside the bracket we need to put the other factors. So looking at the first one, our other factor is 6, and looking at the next one, our other factor is plus x. So we put in 6 plus x into our bracket, and that gives us, if we group it together, plus x, that gives us x plus 5 multiplied by 6 plus x. Looking at a second one over here, we've got 2w outside of w minus 1 minus 3 outside of w minus 1. So again, looking at this, our HCF is w minus 1. So w minus 1, our highest common factor, goes outside the bracket. Then the other factors go inside a second bracket. So we have 2w, and we also have minus 3. So our 2w inside the bracket first, and then we have our minus 3. So factorising these, we look at them, we see that our highest common factor is a whole bracket, so we reorganize it so we end up with 2 lots of brackets. So that's the end of your first chunk. Please come through here and have a look at these questions in question 1. Factorize. Have a look at A to I. If you get those finished, go across and do B, D, F. Alright, so our second chunk is going to be looking at if an expression has 4 terms. Now this was pretty easy when we did the first lot because we already had one factor already grouped together inside a bracket. We're going to have a look and see what happens if we've got 4 terms. So first of all, look for a HCF. If you find one, then that will go outside the bracket of them all. If you can't though, find a highest common factor for all the terms, break the expression into 2 parts. You get 2 lots of 2 terms, factorise them separately, and then check whether you've now got a HCF that is a bracket. So to look at our first couple of examples, we're factorising 3ac plus 2bc plus 2bd plus 3ad. Now if we look at these, while there are common factors with some terms with none with all, I can see if I'm looking up here, I've got a C in the first 2, I've got a B in the second 2, I've got a D in the third 2, I've got an A in the first one and the last one, but I haven't got any letter in all of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break them into 2. I'm going to break them, the first half is going to be 3AC plus 2BC, and my second one is going to be 2BD and 3AD. Now for my first one, my HCF is C. So I'm going to end up with C outside of, looking at my first term, I need to multiply it by 3A to get back to 3AC. I've got a plus, and then looking at my second term, I need to multiply it by 2B to get to 2BC. Looking at my next lot, 2BD plus 3AD, my HCF is D. Put the D outside my first term. If you like, divide the first term by D or take D away from the first term. We've got 2B. Take D away from the second term. We've got plus 3A. So when we observe this, we've got 3A plus 2B and 2B plus 3A. They are the same. They're just rearranged. It's like saying 2 plus 3 and 3 plus 2. So I end up with a highest common factor of 3A plus 2B. Put 3A plus 2B outside of the bracket, and then inside the bracket we're going to have this C, and then we're going to have the plus D. put that plus there as well. Okay, looking at one more example, I've got 4km plus 6m minus 6kp minus np. So again, putting them down and dividing them into two terms. If I look again, I've got nothing that's in every single one. I've got k in two of them, I've got an m in two of them, I've got an n in two of them, I've got a p in two of them. So we have got 6km, and then our second term is going to be that minus, grab the sign, minus 6kp minus 9np. Looking at my first lot, I've got a HCF of number-wise, highest common factor of 4 and 6 is 2. And then looking at my letters, I've got an m in both sides. Looking at my highest common factor is 2m. Looking at the other one, minus 6 minus 9, highest common factor is minus 3. Remember, put our minus into our common factor, which we did last lesson. And then our letter, we've got p. So minus 3p is our highest common factor. So what we can see there is our HC, I'll group them together. We have got 2m outside of, again, if we look at that first term, if we remove 2m from it, we've got 2k left, which we multiply. If we remove 2m from 6m, we've got 3 left, and the n. So we end up with 2m outside of 2k plus 3n. And for our second one, we put that minus 3p outside our bracket, taking minus 3p away or dividing minus 6kp, the term, by minus 3p. We've got a 2k. We've got plus a negative times a positive is a negative. Taking away minus 3 or dividing minus 9 by minus 3, we have 3. Get rid of the p, we've got 3n. So there it is, we've divided them up. Our highest common factor is now what we've got in our brackets. We can see it's 2k plus 3n. Take that highest common factor outside the bracket. And then we've got, looking at the first term, we've got 2m. Looking at the second term, we've got minus 3p. Okay, so this is quite difficult, quite tricky, I guess, but have a go at this second lot of questions. Thank you.